Shabbos Daf Mem Zayin. Up until now, we learned about basis l'davar aser, a support to something that's aser like a flame. The support is muktzah. What about if you are supporting something that's aser together with something that's mutter? Basis l'davar aser v'hamutter. For instance, you're permitted to carry your son who's carrying a stone because you're carrying two things, mutter and aser. So the isser comes because of the heter. Same thing, if you have a basket that has fruit but also carries a stone, that's mutter. Rebbe Zera asked Rav Asi, so then why is it that Rebbe said that it's mutter to carry a machta, a pan that has leftover incense, the ashes of incense? The incense is muktzah. The Gemara uses a pasuk from Daniel, Ishtoimeim kisho chada. Rav Asi was in shock for a moment. And then he answered, he said, perhaps there was some leftover incense that's actually not muktzah. And that's why it's basis l'davar ha'asr v'hamutter. Well, Abaye didn't like that. Rebbe was very wealthy. And a small amount of incense was insignificant to Rebbe. And we learned, when it comes to Tumah, a wealthy person doesn't consider a beged of an ani, a 3x3 beged, or any beged made with different type of yarn or whatever. It's not considered a beged for an usher. So that's not considered non-muktzah item for Rebbe. Therefore, Abaye prefers to say that we're talking about a grafshel rei, a disgusting vessel that usually contains excrements, human waste. And there's a special halacha that since it's disgusting, you're allowed to move it and take it out of your room, out of the house. Rava says it's not, there's no comparison. A grafshel rei is an open kli, whereas this machta has a net on top. Grafshel rei is disgusting. Ashes of incense is not disgusting. Therefore, Rava learns that these ashes are not muktzah because they serve a purpose. You could cover spittle, you could cover excrements. So then what is the chiddush? The chiddush is that in addition to these ashes, there was something that was muktzah, there was some unburnt wood. So again, it's a basis l'davar hamutter, ashes va'asr, the wood, and the chiddush is you're allowed to move it. The Brisa says that both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, the machlokes, there is muktzah, isn't muktzah, they both agree that if you have leftover wick floating in the oil, that's considered muktzah. But you have a basis l'davar asr v'hamutter, it should be mutter. Says the Gemara, we're talking about in Galil. Over there, wicks were worth a lot of money for them. And therefore, the wick, which is the davar asr, overcomes the oil, which is davar mutter. Taisa says, and it's very interesting, Taisa says that Galil, they had so much oil that the oil was worthless. Talking about today, that the oil prices dropped to a 20-year low. The Gemara talks about a mita shel tarsiim. This is a bed that comes apart. Are you allowed to put it together on Shabbos? Rav and Shmuel says it's a isur de'oraisa, you're chayav achatos. Why? Says Rashi, you're makeh b'patish, you're finishing off the binyan. And in fact, there's a brisa that says just like them. It says that if you take the final part of a menorah and you put it in, or you take a round horn and you put it together, it's difficult to put together, you're chayav achatos. If you have like an extension stick to paint, or one of those sticks that comes together, or a simple horn, that's pater aval aser. Now, Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Huna, they argue, and then they say it's completely mutter to put together a bed on Shabbos. In fact, there's a brisa that says that if you have bed platforms or the bed legs or an arrow rest, you shouldn't put it back on Shabbos, and if you do, you're pater aval aser. And if you put it in forcefully, you're chayav achatos. Comes Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, and this is how Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Huna hold that. He says not only is it not pater aval aser, it's mutter. You could lechatchila put together these things, and so Rava paskin lahalacha that if you have one of these traveling beds, you're allowed to take it apart and put it back together on Shabbos. We learned in the Mishnah that if you have a lamp and the lamp is spewing out sparks, you're allowed to put a kli, a bowl underneath to catch the sparks, and it's not considered mevatel kli meichani that you're canceling this kli now for Shabbos because the sparks, they're invisible, so you're allowed to move the kli afterwards. However, that's if you put a kli without any liquid, but you're not allowed to add liquid to the kli even before Shabbos. Because if it was on Shabbos itself and you took this kli and you brought it closer to the sparks, you would be extinguishing the sparks on Shabbos. Therefore, they were geyser not to put water even on Erev Shabbos. And with that, we finish Perek Kira, and we're starting Perek Bamet Taimne. We learned the Isser of burying, insulating your pot on Shabbos, your pot of food. It's also to insulate with something that's moisef hevel, something that adds heat. So the Mishnah goes through the list. There's a list of things that give off a lot of heat, so much so that it doesn't matter if they are dry or moist. They add a lot of heat, such as the leftover olives, the olive pits. They decompose. Manure, as we know, gives off a lot of heat. Salt, lime, calcium, and sand. And there are some that only add heat when they are moist and not when they are dry, and those are straw, grape skins, anything soft like a soft cotton, some soft wool, and grasses. The Gemara does this halacha: if you have a box that's not moisef hevel, doesn't add heat, and you have food inside, you were matmin on Shabbos, it's also to put that box on top of decomposing olives. And that would be like halacha l'maisa today. You're not allowed to take a chon pot and cover it with a blanket, and the blanket is not moisef hevel, but underneath you have a blech, a plata that adds hevel. The top is not moisef hevel, but the bottom is moisef hevel, and that's why it's asur. The Gemara says you can't bring a raya from this halacha that our mission is talking about olives, because it's possible that we're talking about any kind of atmani, even burying in sesame seeds. This halacha that the hevel goes upwards is regarding talking about olives, but in general, it would be asur to be matmin in anything. Have a wonderful day.